I performed ablution to pray, and while I was dressing in my room, someone knocked on the door. My mom called out, "Erkan, come in." I entered and saw Nedum. "Welcome, Nedum. How are you?" I asked. "I'm doing great, Erkan. Come quickly. I have something very important to show you," he said. He was very excited. "Okay, Mom, I'm going. I'll come back in the evening. Take care and see you later," I said. My mom said, "Be careful, my son." We left together. On the way I asked him, "What happened, Nedum? Why do you look so happy? Calm down a bit. The villagers will laugh at us." Nedum put his hand into his jacket pocket and took out a phone. "Look, Erkan, I got a new phone. A smartphone. I really wanted this. I'll take photos with animals." "How did you get it, Nedum?" I asked. "Recep brother and the village head helped. I went with them today and got it," he said. "Congratulations, Nedum," I said and hugged him. After prayer, "Let's go graze the animals. We can take photos together. What do you think?" he suggested. "Sure, Nedum. We're friends. I'll take photos of you and the animals. You can set them as your wallpaper. It'll look great," I said. As he explained the features of his phone, we arrived at the mosque. We prayed and then went to the stable. We took the animals and headed towards the rocky cliffs. It was a good place to graze the animals, but the wind was blowing strongly. We started taking photos. Nedum was very happy. He took numerous photos with each animal. Then he climbed to the top of the rocks. "Nedum, be careful. The wind is strong. You might slip and put us in a difficult situation. You could hurt yourself," I warned. "No, Erkan, nothing will happen. Just take my photo like this," he said, posing. I was taking his photo while he was smiling. However, what we expected happened. The wind suddenly intensified, and even I was shaken. Nedum slid backward and fell between the rocks. "Nedum!" I shouted and ran after him. I passed the rocks and look, deep down, he had fallen on his hips. "Nedum, are you okay?" I asked. He lifted his head and looked at me, giving a thumbs up with both hands. "I'm not broken, I'm fine," he said. "Nedum, are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? Pull down your sweater, throw away the phone, turn on the flashlight, let me see inside," I instructed. He pulled down his sweater, threw away the phone, and it rolled down to the ground. "Did you find the phone, Nedum?" I asked. "I found it, Erkan. Look, it has a flashlight, too," he said, turning on the flashlight. "Okay, Nedum, you turned on the flashlight, but how are we going to get you out? This place is quite deep. You almost fell to meters," I said. "There's something here, Erkan," he said, moving forward. "Nedum, where are you going?" I asked. He disappeared. I got scared. I took out my own phone and turned on the flashlight. I looked down. The place where Nedum fell looked like a swamp, but it wasn't a swamp. It was a staircase. Nedum had fallen onto the stairs. "What is this, Nedum? Is this a settlement? How do you get down here?" I asked. I looked around. There was a path between the rocks. "Wait, Nedum. Don't go anywhere else," I said. "Okay, Erkan. I'm here. I'll take photos. He replied. I entered through the rocks. Netum, make some noise, I said. He made some noise. I followed the sound. There was no wind here. The rocks seemed handcrafted. It was very interesting. I advanced by holding on to the rocks. I stepped on a rock. The rock trembled. There was a foul smell coming from inside. Netum, stop. For God's sake, stop. This place is dangerous. Let's call the gendarmerie, I said. What gendarmerie? Turkin. This place is fascinating. It's filled with statues and reliefs. Maybe it's a very ancient place. If we report it to an official, they'll close it off, and we won't be able to see it again, he said. He seemed to have a point. He wanted to go inside. Netum, don't go in. There might be gas or something. We could run out of air. There might be a trap, I said. What trap, Erkan? Leave me alone, he insisted. Despite my unease, I couldn't stop him. He went in, and I followed. The inside was a strange place filled with pendulums. The smell was terrible. It was very tall. There were empty chambers, and the center was like a wide hall. On the right and left, there were rooms with 3 round entrances each. The rooms seemed slightly excavated from the ground. Did people live here? I couldn't understand because there were no belongings, or they had taken everything. The door he mentioned was a round board. We went towards the center. There was something there, surrounded by spider webs. What was a spider doing here? Very strange. I took a photo of the surroundings. Then Netum called out, Herkin, look what I found. Look at this book. He held a book. It had a vivid cover. It seemed to be moving. I went to him. The reliefs on it were very realistic. It seemed handcrafted. I ran my hand over it. It was amazing. But was there a lock next to the book? What were these? For bones that looked like teeth, horizontally positioned, interlocked with each other. The bones were flexible. They bent backward when pressed. We tried pulling them outward to open the book, but it didn't work. Okay, Netum, leave these alone. The weather is getting bad. It's getting dark. It's going to rain. Let's go, I said. I'll take the book too, he insisted. Nonsense, Netum. What do you mean? Take it. If they find out we entered here, it might be a crime. We need to report it immediately. We found it. It's ours. If we don't tell anyone, no one will know. I want to look at the book. Promise. If it's empty, I'll put it back. Who would come here anyway? I said, feeling uneasy. But I would do anything to get away from here. Okay, Netum. Let's go out, I said. We went out together. He hid the book under his jacket. We climbed up. No one was there. Only the animals had scattered. We quickly gathered them. He put the book in the food bag. Are you going to eat? He asked. But I had lost my appetite. No, Netum, you eat. I need some rest, I said. I leaned against a tree. The wind had picked up. Rain clouds were visible. It was also time for the afternoon prayer. Let's go back. That's enough, I said. He agreed. We gathered the animals. First, we took them to the stable. Then we went to his house. We performed ablution. I'm going to check this book, he said. He placed the book on the table and started working on it. He brought the toolkit. He took out a screwdriver, pliers, and whatever else was in there. The book wouldn't open. He pushed it from the side, but despite being small and weak, the book didn't open. "Can I tell you something?" I said. "What?" he asked. "I think there's nothing inside the book. It just looks like this to deceive and distract people. It might be a clever plan. Look, it's not moving at all. If it were going to open, it would have done so by now." He went and grabbed an axe, hit it from behind, tried to open it. He also tried with a pickaxe, but the bones only bent backward. They were not useful for anything else. "Until I open this, I won't leave here, Erkin. I won't come back without opening it," he said. "Okay, Nedham. You know best. I'm going to the mosque. Afternoon prayer is approaching." "No," he said. "I'm staying until I open it. Erkin, I won't return without opening it." "Fine," I said. "You do what you. Our folks would create a scene if I go out. I'd have to listen to their lectures. I'll go to the mosque and come back from there." "Okay," he said. "You know best, but you'll be surprised when you see it. Man, I'm curious. What did he find? What's inside it? I'm dying of curiosity. I'm turning left and right. I can't sleep. I tried calling him. I try, but he didn't answer. I thought he must have fallen asleep. I was about to go to bed when a small stone hit the window, followed by a couple more. I opened the curtain and looked. He was standing there, looking at me. "El, what are you doing here?" I gestured frantically, but he made no sound. "Wait," he said. I slowly opened the door. "If my dad asks, I'll say Nedham called for help with Hadge." I went out, wearing slippers, and it was very cold. "Where are you, Nedham? Where are you?" he called from the left garden. A stone sound came from behind. The left side was my parents' room. "Is this idiot throwing stones at their room?" I ran towards the back. Ideri was standing there, head bowed. He was just standing by the wall. "Nedham, Nedham, come here. This side is our family's room. You're going to wake them up. Now only a buzzing sound is coming." He's not saying anything else. I went towards that direction. I tapped on his shoulder. "Look," I said. I tried turning him, but he was as stiff as a wall. "No trembling. He belongs to us. He belongs to us. Give us what belongs to us. It belongs to us. What the hell belongs to us? Nedham? What's happening? You're scaring me. Stop acting foolishly. If you're recording a video, it's not funny at all. The phone isn't new. Don't ruin our lives." I pulled him from his left arm. Blood was flowing from his nose. He was covered in blood. He raised his arm and pointed behind me. I turned around. There were dark things coming towards me. They were moving. There was no light. I couldn't see clearly. I screamed. I raised my hands in the air. I fell to the ground. On my back, I tried to push off the pressure on me by screaming. It felt like someone was pressing down on me. My body was getting heavier as if it were buried in the ground. When the light came on, everything disappeared. The curtain opened. The window opened. My dad said, "Erkin, what are you doing there? Why are you yelling, fool?" Then he quickly came out. "What's this? Take it, my son. What are you doing here in the mud? Get up, he said. I couldn't say anything because I was frozen. They changed my clothes when they brought me inside. My dad had me take a warm shower. Then he took me to my room. Are you okay, Erkin? Are you yourself, my son? Should I get the car ready? Should I take you to the hospital? You seem out of sorts. Cats were fighting. I got out of there. Then it wound around my foot. I fell to the ground, a cat. Son, they fight. Of course. If you had thrown something out the window, like a tissue or a knife, they would have run away. Can you go out in this cold with slippers on? You'll catch a cold. Then you'll get sick. Let's go to bed, my mom said. After they left, my dad glanced into her room as if checking on her. He came to me. Were you secretly smoking? Huh? Tell me the truth. I might beat you now. If you tell me, I'll let it go. Do you understand? I'll be lenient. But if I hear it from someone else later on, it'll be really bad for you, DarkRoom. No, Dad. I didn't even touch it, I swear. Smell if you want. I really couldn't have smelled like cigarettes. Okay. Before going to bed, you'll tell me this cat story, but I know. There's something about you. I smell it, he said, and entered, slamming the door. I was trembling with fear, and cold sweat was pouring down from me. Nothing had ever caused me this kind of fear. I immediately called Nedham several times, but he didn't answer. I sent a message. You see this, call me. Sleep didn't come until morning. I slept sporadically. After performing a ablution, my dad and I went to the mosque. After the prayer, I told him I'd go to Nedham's, help him with the animals. Okay, be careful, he said. And I set out for Nedham's house. When I knocked on the door, he opened it immediately. Come, I've been waiting for you, he said, and ushered me inside. With excitement, he took a book from the bottom shelf. The book was open, all pages visible, but the areas resembling bones on both sides were bright red. What happened? How did you open the book, and why is it red here? I asked. I accidentally cut my hand with a knife. My finger is bandaged, he said. When blood flowed, the book opened. Think of it like a cipher. Nowadays, people create ciphers. These open with blood or another fluid, he explained. Look, last night I saw very bad things. I couldn't come when you called in the evening, but I had a strange dream about you. I never called you, I said. How? He turned to me. Did you not call me? Did we not talk? You said you'd come after the morning call to prayer. No, I never called you. You didn't come to our house, I replied. No, I didn't come. What's the relevance? He said. I saw you, talked to you. Who did I talk to then? You said it belongs to us. I didn't understand what you meant. I closed the book again without opening it. Look, there's something in this book, Nedham. I don't feel comfortable at all, brother. Come, let's put it back, I said. Okay, let's put it back, no problem, but take a look inside. There are very interesting things. Maybe we'll learn things people have never known, he said, and placed the book on his knees. He turned the pages. Look here, he said. There was a horned figure with inscriptions inside. The writings resemble ancient Greek, written with shapes and symbols. Look, let's put it back, I insisted. I swear this book has a curse, it will haunt us, and then we won't be able to get rid of it. Look, now what should I do? He said. Take a look, he said. What are you going to do? I asked as he handed the book towards me. Open any page you want, he said. As he instructed, I opened any page. Then he removed the bandage from his finger, squeezed it with 2 fingers, and blood gushed out. He smeared the blood on his tongue, and then his head dropped. I had seen this scene in my dream last night. Exactly like this, his head had dropped. You are scaring me, man. What are you doing? I exclaimed. The pages in my hands started turning. It's written in Turkish here. How can this be? If it's this old, how could it be written in the Latin alphabet? I wondered. I started reading the page on the right. The curse always belonged to them, those who took the forbidden one. I read aloud. While I was reading, Nedham was also reading silently, but with a terrifying voice. I stopped reading and only listened to him. Frightened, I closed the book before even reaching halfway. Nedham, snap out of it. My God, it's too much. I'm really scared. My heart is pounding like it's going to burst. My hands and feet are trembling. My head is tingling, I said. Then Nedham raised his head. Did it work? Did it work? Did it take my place? He asked. By taking my place, he meant, did it work? Son, what have you gotten yourself into? If it's this book, repent, repent, my son. Is it making contact with the other realm? He said. This book, I said. Yes, yes, he said, and jump in the air. If you had seen what I saw last night, your mind would be blown. It was everywhere. In the bathroom, he said. They said the book belongs to us. I will protect the book. Don't worry, I said. Then let's make a deal, they said. I heard with my ears, they said. He was saying he heard the jinn with his ears. He has gone mad. Brother, take this, take it to its place, or never deal with me again, Herkin shouted behind me. But I quickly walked away from there. Herkin, please don't go, let's talk, he called after me. But I didn't even turn around. People on the street were looking at me strangely. Herkin, is there a problem, brother? What happened to you? They asked. No, I'm just very cold. I feel like I'm going to wet myself, and I really need to use the bathroom, I said. When I reached home, I rushed to the bathroom. I slammed my head against the wall a few times, completely letting go of my nerves. My phone started ringing. My mom was calling, asking me to pick up Open, my son. I replied, no, Mom, don't answer. I'll call him later. If he calls now, I have to go. The weather is cold. Let me rest for a while. She said, okay, my son, you know best. I'm going to the neighbor's house. Okay, I said, and I heard her leave. The phone started ringing again. I didn't come out of the bathroom. Being under the water felt good. But when the phone rang, I sensed it getting closer this time. I saw the rising light in front of the bathroom door. I shouted, Mom, is that you? No response. Then the phone answered, hey, why aren't you checking my messages, Herkin? Aren't we friends? It's disrespectful, Herkin, said Nedham. I grabbed the iron pipe on the side and slowly descended. I wrapped myself in a towel. I opened the door, ready to hit, but no one was there. I went to my room. When I entered my room, the front door opened. My mom was coming. "How did you come back so quickly, Mom?" I asked. "How quickly, my son? I've been at your uncle's for 45 hours. What else could I do? It would be embarrassing to stay too long. There was handicraft. We finished it. What have you been doing?" she said. "I took a shower, Mom," I replied. I closed the door. My head was throbbing like it would explode. Definitely, you got involved in something, Adam. I also got involved by going there. I won't see him again. It's over. Finished. I won't talk to him again. I took the phone, blocked him, his calls, messages, everything. Then I got dressed, sat in the living room. After the events, a week passed. In a week, everything changed in the village. People don't talk to each other anymore. They envy each other behind their backs. My mom's friends come, talk behind one's back. Then others come, talk behind those gossipers. The village lost its old tranquility. Fewer people go to the mosque. Almost no one in the congregation when I go for prayers. In the morning prayer, there's one imam, me, and dear old Uncle Mohammed. No one else. The imam thought this situation might be about him. He went to houses one by one. He asked if the problem was about him not leading the prayers, or if there was something else. Everyone told the imam the same thing. "It's cold now. That's why we can't come. We'll come back in the summer. We're getting old. The cold affects us too much. That's why we stay home," they said. But they are lying, because they know how rewarding it is to pray in congregation. So they won't miss that in their lives our villagers won't. In the evening, when my dad and Mom were talking, my dad said, "Do you believe me, dear? My head hurts when I enter the village. Today I went to the town, and my headache disappeared. When I approached the village again, my head started hurting. Is our village too cold, or did we get stuck in between? Is it the wind?" He said, "No, we women talked about it. But," my mom said, "What did you say?" I asked. "Well, for the last week or so there is no more neighborliness, no anything. Everyone talks behind each other's backs. Even if I don't want to say something, my view of people is changing. Our daughter Asra is a teacher. You know that. We read and recite the Quran through her. The things they said about that girl. And then when I asked if you saw or heard anything, you said you thought so, and they say I also think that way. Some even claim to see other married men in their dreams. They believe three-letter beings haunt them," she said. My dad exclaimed, "Repent, repent. What does this mean? Honestly, it's like there's no one in the village. No one is talking to anyone. You have a lot of work in the town, and you stay away from here, but things are not going well in the village. I understand. What if we do something like this? Gather all the villagers and invite a religious scholar. I'll talk to Reset tomorrow. Maybe the village head knows someone. Brings them here. I'll do my best. The village head also has some problems. Take out our big cauldrons. Cook rice in the garden with the ladies. Let's all eat together, share. It will be both charitable and beneficial." When I heard this, I immediately got up. Dad, let me go to Needham, I said. He hasn't been seen for a week. He's nowhere to be found. I wonder if he's sick. Let me drop by. Okay, he said. Go and hurry. Come on, take it, he said, throwing the car keys. Really? Seriously. Take and use it. Don't get sick walking in the cold. Don't bother with us. I took the car. I parked it in front of Needham's house right away. I had only one thing on my mind. This madman has infected everyone with demons because of the book. I knocked on the door forcefully. The door didn't open. I looked inside. The lights are still off. Where could he be, I thought, and only one place came to my mind. Did he go there? But first, let me check the stable. What happened to the animals? The stable door was easy to open. It never had a lock. I opened the door by untying the wires from the top. Oh my God, what is this smell? A terrible smell hit me like a punch. I felt nauseous. I pulled back, covered my nose. Then I found the light inside and turned it on. In the dark, all the animals were torn to pieces. Their throats were cut, their bellies were slashed. Most of them didn't even have heads. Some had their organs taken out, leaving only their intestines. What has he done to the animals here? Needham, Needham, damn you, Needham. I yelled the letter N. I jumped into the car. I went straight to where the animals grazed. When passing through the area where the plow was, I saw bloodstains on the walls. Some animal organs were also there. He had literally made a path for himself by scattering animal organs on the road. I came to the place where the big gate was. Inside the cave, candles were burning. He was sitting in the middle of the stone, where he took the big book, cross-legged. His hands and face were covered in blood. He tore pieces of meat from his mouth. Blood was dripping down like drool. Needham, come to your senses, my brother. Needham, are you there? Needham, for God's sake, make a sound. He was making a sound like boo with just the letter E. I knew this sound. It was the same as the sound he made when I saw Needham behind our house that first night. Come to your senses, I said. Please say something. I came to help my brother. Are you okay? He didn't make any sound. He just continued that groaning sound. I wanted to approach and touch him, but sudden, they shone from behind. With their shining, I saw those black entities standing behind. I immediately turned my face back. My Lord, I seek refuge in you from the evil of these beings. I started reciting Nuz and Felak, but my tongue began to twist. I couldn't breathe. The jinn began to strangle me. Breathing was very difficult. To crawl outside slowly, I dragged myself out. When I looked towards Needham, he had lifted his head. He was smiling hideously. Blood was spraying towards me from his mouth. He was opening his mouth and shaking his head from side to side with a grimace. Then I ran away, and the ones behind started shining again. I drove straight home. I quickly entered the house. Dad, Dad, I shouted. My father came out of the room in pajamas. What's going on? Why are you shouting? Are you going to stir up the village, you animal? Why are you shouting? Dad, Needham, Needham, Needham. He's taken by a jinn. The jinn took him. Jinn took him. What are you talking about? What are you saying? Pull yourself together. Calm down, he said. He closed the door and windows so that no sound would go outside. When we went to the living room, I told everything from start to finish, how the events that started with a photo ended up where they did. Repent, repent. What are you saying, my son? Let's go to the imam right away. Almost, he said. He lifted me up and put me in the car. We arrived at the imam's house. We went downstairs and knocked on the door. The poor man was just about to go out. What happened? Did you also experience strange things? That's why we came, teacher. Where are you going? I'm going to Recep's. Did the mooter's mother die? What happened to him? He's shouting like crazy. Some villagers came and informed me. Teacher, I can tell you everything. I know why the village became like this. Of course, tell, but tell on the way. I can ride in the car, he said. After we went downstairs, he kept talking to someone on the street constantly. When we heard shouting from inside, we went in. Villagers were barely holding Recep. Calm down, Recep. Nobody is there, they said. But he was so focused on attacking that he didn't see anyone. After my father caught Recep, he said, "Look at me, my son. Look at me. Don't take your eyes off me." He looked towards my father. You. Do you know my mother came out of the grave? He went crazy saying it's mine. He lost his mind completely. After my father took Recep to the hospital, he said, "Teacher, what you told is important. You will tell everything to those who come. Remember if there's anything you haven't told me." The next evening, 3 vehicles arrived. People who looked like the teacher got out of the car. We were at the teacher's house. 2 of the newcomers were old. The others were like students next to them. I told everything. They looked at the imam. "You stay here, kid. You're coming with us." "Only the kid knows the place other than us," they said. He agreed, of course. The teacher got up and went with those 2 old men. They parked the car as I described. They ordered the students to stay only at the entrances and exits of the village. I took them behind the boats. I brought them to the beginning of the entrance. "In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful," he said. He turned towards the teacher in front. "Their house is one of the old ones. What you will see inside may completely drive your mind crazy. Next to me is Isaac, their servant. Those who try to scare you are his servants. We are created as the superior. Never forget that," they said. Okay, I said, even though he said I wouldn't be afraid. I was walking looking down just in case. The dirt and smells around had increased even more. All the meats he brought here had rotted, infested with worms. Flies had swarmed. As I said, when I came to the big door, there were candles lit inside. The teachers saw it too. The teacher raised his hands and recited a prayer. His face lit up. Similarly, the teacher behind me, I kept reading silently. When they entered, Nedim was lying on his back. Nedim was lying there motionless on the stone. The candles behind him flared up again. This time they ignited upward in a larger flame. Nedim suddenly sat up as if he were about to stand. He turned to the left. The same disgust and that smile were on his face. His eyes were completely black. The teachers continued to approach them. Without taking any steps back. I was also walking with them. When they reached Nedham, the teacher suddenly shouted something at him and recited something. Nedham rolled backward. His hands and feet were pulled backward. The hip and back regions lifted up in the air. The other teachers said, "We see that this is the house of the wicked. We are aware that disrespect has been shown to your home. The book that belongs to you has been taken and used in an unwanted way. We know it's your right. You have taken what belongs to you, but we request that you end your influence on the child and the village." "What do you mean by saying you have taken what you have taken?" I asked if Nedham would stay here. The teacher behind me touched my shoulder. I turned to him. "Quiet together," he said. "If you want the other people in the village to be saved and live, don't make much noise. Keep calm." I did what he said. The teacher took out 4 pieces of paper from his pocket. He had prepared them at the imam's house. Then he slowly put them on the ground. Something like sliding on the ground came from the front, and quickly took away the papers. I couldn't understand how he took it. It disappeared all of a sudden. Then we pulled back. "If you accept what we said, your entrance will be closed, and this place will be closed. You can take your place. The book is yours. If you accept, please show your darkness." After saying this, the candle slowly went out. Then the stones on the right started shaking, as if they were collapsing towards us. "Let's get out of here," they said. Despite being old, they were more agile than me. We quickly got out of there. The rocks began to fall inward, completely closed. Everything. What will happen to Nedham? What will the teachers do with Nedham? Will he stay there? Nedham had already died. The beings that took over Nedham's body were jinn. They read spells from the book. After reading, the events that happen to him are evident. "Unfortunately, we can't save him in any way," he said. "So what will happen? Will the village still be in danger? What will you say to the villagers now? It's up to you. You won't see Nedham again. They will take this place. They will move the book to another place. The book goes to another place every time it is used. The book you used is known as the Book of the Devil, or the Books of Jinn. There is nothing we can do." A month passed. The villagers found peace. There were no more blaming or bad-mouthing each other as before, but I was completely broken. Every day Nedham entered my dreams, and I saw that book. I couldn't forget what I experienced. Thanks to my father, he sent me to the city to study. Then he and my mother came as well. We no longer live in the village. Nedham found and used something that should never have been found, paying a heavy price. When we find such ancient books that we don't know, we should definitely stay away from them or deliver them to someone who knows. Otherwise, many people like Nedham will be trapped in this darkness. Thank you for listening to me.